and welcome. It's been a long journey. It's been a long journey the last 7 days. And today I'll wrap up my mid-season player reviews. An interesting batch of players to get through in this part 7. 35 players have put on the Carlton jumper in 2021 thus far. Well, 36 if you include Josh Honey, who did get another game under his belt as the sub. So officially has now played 2 games for Carlton. But I'm only going through the blokes that have actually crossed that white line. And we have Levi Casboult, Adam Saad, Will Setterfield, Matthew Owies, and young Matthew Cottrell to finish off. So let's get stuck into it. Let's start with Big Meat, Levi Casboult. And I mean, you don't have to be Einstein to figure out that this will be Levi's last year. Who knows, really? Who knows at Carlton? But I mean, we're probably 99% sure that it will be Levi's Casboult's last year. And the interesting thing for me, will he get a farewell game? Will he get another opportunity this year? But based on form, you would say not, and based on balance of the team and what we've got available at the moment, you would say no as well. So it'd have to be something, you have to think, unless something happens to TDK, Mark Pitnet, Jacob Wiedering or Liam Jones, you can't see Levi Casboult playing another game for the Carlton Football Club, unless the club are feeling very emotional and giving him an opportunity to play one more. He's clocked up 150th this year, so that's great for him. And this isn't a knock on Levi Casboult. I just think we're at a stage now where, with 10 games remaining, we need to be, obviously thinking about what we're going to be doing next year. And he's not going to be a part of that. With young Murkov now waiting in the wings as a developing young ruckman, I just can't see how Levi fits in to the club anymore. He played the 10 games. We didn't have TDK available, so he got his opportunity. We know the injury, the pre-season injury on his knee. We hear that he's had all sorts of problems to get up for each game, so credit to him to be able to do that, to be able to play a role in the team, both as a forward and as a backup ruckman. That knee injury, he's had it drained before each game. But the fact of the matter is he almost became, he became a liability until the point where we couldn't really play him. And we had that bizarre situation where he ended up playing in that game where TDK came back and he played as a defender with Wiedering and Jones. It was really bizarre, a really strange day to have Wiedering, Jones and Levi Casboult playing as 3 key defenders. Just the 5 goals this year, averaged 8 disposals, which is well down. Contested marks well down in general. His mobility, he was never the most mobile big man going around, but with that knee injury, he was definitely labouring. But once you cross that white line, you're open to criticism. And he was poor. He was poor in the 10 games he's played. He's 31 years of age, which isn't that old when you think of it. He's an unrestricted free agent. I don't know. Maybe the break mid-season buy gives him an opportunity to have one last crack at it. I don't know, but I just think we've moved past of Levi Casboult. And I think we just need to persevere with TDK now, get more games into Mark Pitnet for the rest of the season. And then we've got the youngster Alex Murkov waiting in the wings. And then we just have to try and I think we do, at this draft, need to look at some more key position players. I think we really do. We've got a lot of areas we need to look at, but I think some key position players we need to start having a look at as well. But I think it's all over for Big Meat. He's been a fine servant for the football club. But time's come. Let's move on to the number 42, Adam Saad. He's played every game. It's a really hard one to assess. How much time do you give someone to fit into their new club? That period of adjustment into a new football club. But this is his third club in 6 seasons. So he's been around the traps, and he's no spring chicken. He's clocking up the games. He's now an experienced AFL footballer. He's 20th in the competition this season for metres gained, which is okay. And he's second at Carlton for metres gained behind Sam Docherty, which was a bit of a surprise when I saw that stat. And if you look at those metre gains, he's such an important sort of component of our team because of that. Because our next best is Ed Curnow at number 55 in the competition. Then Sam Walsh at 66. That came as a bit of surprise to see Curnow before Walsh. And Cripper rounds it out in the top 5 at 149 in the competition. So he's such an important player in regards to metres gained. And to see him sitting 20th in the competition behind Docherty, that doesn't particularly sort of sit well with me at this stage, but I think that will improve with time. The thing I liked about him this year, is he played through, he was really resilient. And he was hurting early on in the year with that knee injury. I thought he was outstanding in the game against Gold Coast when he was injured. I thought he was one of the reasons why we got over the line. He's played some good football. There's no doubt about that. He's played some good football, but he's played some average football as well, particularly defensively. He's 5th in disposals with us this season, averaging 19 touches a game. He generally uses it pretty well, although he has been caught a lot of the time this year on his right-hand side. I don't know whether that's us getting used to where he wants to run or where he wants to receive the ball. He's basically a handball receive type player. He can win his own ball, but he's disappointed me a little bit this year in regards to his defensive play. I thought he was a little bit better than that at Essendon. And I think he can be better than that. So that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, not only for the rest of this season, but moving forward as well. I can't help thinking about those parting words. I think it may have been the CEO, Xavier Campbell at Essendon, when Saad left or he decided to leave. I can't help thinking, I think the gist of it was that he didn't like criticism and he was a little bit selfish. I don't know. I don't think we could just automatically sweep those words under the carpet. Maybe there's an element of truth about his personality as a player. I mean, we saw him completely ignore young Stocker when he kicked that goal. He just fucking completely ignored him. So, to me, he's still got to prove himself. He's got to, he's continually got to get better for us. Might take a full year. He might explode next season. I'm pretty confident he can still become a really good player for us and fit into what we want to do moving forward. But I think he needs, I don't know, I just get a feeling he needs a really strong coach, He's not going to take any shit from him. I don't know. I just feel like he needs some real strong direction, Adam Saad. That's just the feeling I get. But I think it's been an okay start to his career at Carlton. He definitely, I know he finished top 3 in Essendon's best and fairest in the last 2 years, but I don't reckon he's top 3 with us. He might be top 5. I don't think he's that high up at the moment in regards to B and F finishes. But really, does that matter? We're sitting bottom 4 on the ladder at the moment. So it's all about, us improving as a football team, not necessarily him as an individual. Will Setterfield. He's still only played 40 odd games. We know the knee reconstruction when he first came to the club. He was still on the long-term injury list. Took him a while to get going. Still just 23 years of age, as I mentioned, yet to play 50 games, up and down season, no doubt about that, considering he was probably our most improved player last season, although I don't think there was a Melbourne Cup field last year to be our most improved player. Someone had to be most improved, and it was Will. I thought he was okay. He started the season slowly last year and then finished off, got stronger and stronger, and then I suppose dropped away a little bit at the end. But this year's been up and down. Definitely started the year really poorly. He was dropped after the Collingwood game. I think he came back in for the Port game and then got dropped again. And then spent 4 weeks playing in the VFL where his form was solid and then got another opportunity. This time, I think in his natural position, which is an inside midfielder, had been playing on a wing. Trying to get that balance right has been a real struggle with Will Setterfield. Where is his best position? Where are his real strengths? He's got 19 disposals, 21, 16 and 17 in his last, in the 4 games he's played since he's been back. He's had 4.5 clearances and he's averaging 3 tackles a game, which I think is a strong suit of his, tackling and that inside work. But he has got that balance between inside and outside game. But what's his real strength in the inside work? Is it getting his hands on the ball, then feeding it out by hand? Because I don't think he's got a really big, strong physique. He doesn't have a lot of meat on that frame. At 192 centimetres, he's only like 85, 86 kgs, which isn't really strong. So does he really give us that sort of intimidating presence around the ball? And when he's on the outside, I don't think he's got a lot of speed or a lot of power, and his disposal by foot's not great. He doesn't have a lot of penetration, and we see that when he tries to kick for goal. Anything beyond 40 metres is a real struggle for him. I think he's still, at the moment, I think he's still developing. He's contracted. I think the jury's out still on Will Setterfield, but you've still got to give him time. And like a lot of our players in that age bracket, it's going to be a big finish to the year for him. We want to see a lot more, I suppose, growth from Will Setterfield in the last 10 games, because he will get those opportunities in the last 10 games, unless his form is just putrid. And you wouldn't say 19, 21, 16, 17 in the last 4 games at senior level has been putrid. We just need to see more. I think we expect to see more from I know we didn't take him with pick number 5. But that's essentially he's a top 10 draft pick. And he's not playing at that level at the moment, which has been a disappointment for us this season. I think we just need to see a little bit more aggression, a little bit more intensity from Will Setterfield for the rest of this season. And has he got leadership capabilities? Is he just a quiet sort of guy? I'd like to see a bit of his sort of personality start to shine through in regards to his football. That's what I'd like to see anyway. Number 44 is Matt Owies. And I think in a pretty bleak year from a team point of view, he's been a bit of a surprise packet and a bit of a shining light. There's no doubt about that for me. Look, he's no spring chicken in regards to his age. He's 24 years of age. We know his basketball background. We know he did play a little bit of junior football, and he's still learning. I think at 24 years of age, you can still learn. He's definitely still learning as a Category B rookie. But I think he's been, for what we gave up for him, and I think for what we've seen in the past, I think it's been outstanding, really. And I don't know, I just think in his 6 appearances this year, I think he's shown a fair bit. I'll get to that in a minute. What disappoints me is he played one game last year. He got that opportunity. Admittedly, he didn't play that well in that game, but it was round 15 or 16 when he got that opportunity. Why not at least give him the last 2 games of the year? or at least another opportunity rather than just play one and you're straight out. For me, that was just really bizarre in regards to Matt Owies. And I think for the most part, he showed that maybe there is a little bit of a future there with him. There's still a lot of doubts. It feels like for me with Matt Owies, just before I get to some of his stats this season, it feels like he's a game away from getting dropped. And what I mean by that, if he has two really quiet ones in a row, he's gone. That's the feeling I get with him. I don't think there's going to be much leeway with him. He doesn't have enough credits in the bank to remain in the team from that point of view, which is a little bit disappointing, I think. He had that quiet game against Sydney, and then he started a little bit slowly against West Coast, and then bang, 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 he kicked a couple of goals and then became a real contributor, I think. So he survives again against the Giants coming up. I like that with him, all right? Sydney is the only game he hasn't hit the scoreboard. So he's a regular goal kicker. He's kicked the 10 goals, 6 behind, 16 scoring shots from his 6 games this season. He's kicked a bag of 3, a couple of bags of 2, and he's a dead-eye dick in front of the big sticks, particularly from a set shot. And I think we got a lot of players from the set shot who are really strong. He is, so he's very reliable. And he's averaging 4 tackles a game. I think that's okay. I think his pressure is generally is good. And I sort of like his attitude and his demeanour. It looks like he's really enjoying himself, and he has this real happy knack of finding space inside forward 50. At the start, I thought the ball was just falling into his arms, and he was lucky, taking uncontested marks inside forward 50, and thought, there he is again. He's taking another mark. Where did he come from? But he seems to be doing it consistently. So he's able to find space. I'd like to see him improve a little bit more at ground level. And what does that look like moving forward? To me, he looks at times a little bit robotic in the way he plays, but he has a genuine go. Again, I think he's been good. Is there an upside to him moving forward? Can he get better? Or are we happy with just this role he's playing at the moment? A regular goal kicker, clinical in front of the big sticks, kicks his 2 a game and applies regular pressure. I would like to see him maybe just boost that possession count just a little bit in the last 10 games. He's yet to crack double figures in regards to possession, but he's been effective. And I think he's been a real shining light this season in a pretty bleak year. So that's Matthew Owies for me. So it's a big tick. It's a big tick for Matthew Owies, but I'm still just unsure. I'm just unsure of what his future really is. Is he really good enough to survive for the next 2 or 3 years or 3 or 4 years? It's going to be really interesting. Finally, Matthew Cottrell, and what a player to finish up on. And there's no doubt, like most of our youngsters, excluding probably Sam Walsh and Jacob Weeder and now Harry, that we divided on him. We really divided on him. There's no doubt about that. And a lot of you out there, I think, you probably think that he's a favourite of mine. He's definitely not a favourite of mine. I was more along the lines of with Matthew Cottrell is understand why he's been playing. I understand why he's been playing. I understand why he's clocked up the 10 games this season on the back of playing 5 last year. I saw enough in his 5 games last year in regards to his running ability on a wing that he could be a real asset if he could take that next step as well in regards to possession and impact. He hasn't taken that next step yet, but he's still doing the same things that I saw last year in regards to that running. And it's not just about, we know he's a talented runner. He's very lucky. He's got a huge engine and he's lucky in that respect. But I think it's more than that, more than just being talented runner. I think he's also a gut runner. He goes beyond, what his talent is in regards to his running. You see him everywhere. You actually see him everywhere. Defensively, forward, he covers the ground probably as good as anyone in our football team. Now, is that enough to forge out an AFL career? No, it's not. Is he good enough right now to be playing regular AFL football? No, I don't think he is. And I just want to put it on the table right here, right now. He's not a Mitch Robertson clone. So I hear this a lot. Oh, he's like Mitch Robinson. Okay, sure. He's got a bit of red hair and he's got pasty white skin, but he's nothing like fucking Mitch Robertson. All right? Mitch Robertson's a very talented footballer, one, and he's an absolute maniac. Okay? Two. All right? He chucks himself around. He kills himself physically. All right? Matthew Cottrell is anything but that. Okay? I don't see that real aggression in Matthew Cottrell at the moment. I just don't see it. All right? I think it's a bit. He might bleed for the jumper because he buried for calm, but I don't see what Mitch Robertson does. He's definitely not an intimidating type player. All right, but he does have the ability, I suppose, to stick to doing something, which is fucking running hard forward and back to, like he does run hard both ways. So I'll give him that. Okay, I'll give him that. Does he survive? The interesting thing, does he get a game this week? He was poor against the Eagles. Does he get a game this week? Do we want to see him replaced by O'Brien? I think we do. I mean, he's only averaging what? He's never dropped below 10 disposals in a game, Matthew Cottrell. I know that's not a lot to hang your hat on, but he's never gone into single figures, but he's never gone beyond 20. His best is 19, his worst is 10. And he does, he's not a great tackler. He's not strong enough, but he averages 2.5 tackles a game. It's not great. Okay? I would love to see him given a bit more responsibility to be offensive so we can see what he has got. All right? Because I did see that one piece of play, and I know it's only one, it's a really small sample size, but I did see that one piece of play in the last quarter against Sydney, where he got the ball across half-back, fed it off by hand, then got it back, then sprinted through the middle at pace, took maybe 1 or 2 bounces and hit Harry on the tip coming out from forward 50. It looked fantastic. All right? To me, it was almost like he thought, fuck it, I'm going to get involved now. I've been told to do this, I've been told to do that. Now it's my time to actually do something. And he did it, and he showed he could do it. I would like to see him have a little bit more confidence to do that, all right? But obviously the jury's still out and he's got no contract for next year. I'm not saying the club will get rid of Matthew Cottrell because he will be a good depth player, I think. And the wings are really important. The wings are becoming really important in the AFL, just to finish up on this. And Max Gawn said today, the captain of the Melbourne Football Club, said today in an interview, he said Angus Brayshaw, who wins a lot of the ball if he plays in the midfield, has sacrificed his game playing on a wing this season just because of his defensive running, okay? And the fact that it can be a little bit starvation at times playing out on the wing, all right, particularly if the ball's on the other side of the ground. And he's really sacrificed his game. Maybe Matthew Cottrell's sacrificing a lot of his game as well. I'm not putting Matthew Cottrell in the same class bracket as Angus Brayshaw. What I'm saying is the wing position is a lot different to what it was, okay? They used to be ball hunters. It's a little bit different now. It's about that defensive type actions and that defensive type running. Okay, that's it. That is 35 players done and dusted. It's been, as I said, a bit of a journey, a really enjoyable one. Look, tell me what you think about Matthew Cottrell, Matt Owies, Will Setterfield, Adam Saad and Big Meat. What have their seasons been like? Where do they fit in, not only for the rest of this year, but moving forward as well? Been great, really enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow with a big preview for our game against the Giants at Giants Stadium on Saturday night. For now, it's goodbye.